Hello everyone and welcome to metroTV. I'm your host Andy Hoig, CEO and publisher of Metro Magazine. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking to the Nebraska Children's Home Society about their Dueling Pianos event, the American Midwest Ballet about the world premiere of The Wizard of Oz, and Laura from Nebraska Wildlife Rehab is going to be here talking about what do we do when we find those little babies, the little wildlife babies in our yards, and how we can help protect the wildlife and make life better for them. So we will be right back. Well, welcome back. I'm here with Lana Temple-Platz, the CEO of Nebraska Children's Home Society. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so something new and something exciting that the Nebraska Children's Home is doing as a fundraising event, and it is the Dueling Pianos.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this. Yeah, it's called Dueling Pianos. It's two pianos, two piano players, dueling it out, engaging the crowd, sing-alongs, different songs, you know, Friends in Low Places and different songs like that everyone can sing along to. We'll have hors d'oeuvres and, of course, cocktails.
Right.
And just an opportunity for friends to come out together and support the children's home and get to sing along to some piano music.
Well, and I know last year was like your big 125th anniversary year, and you had a lot of different events celebrating throughout the year. So yeah, I'm just curious. So why this event? Is this something that you feel like you're going to do moving forward each year?
Yeah, we hope to continue to do it. We're hoping it'll be successful. We've never done it before, so we're just trying to switch it up a little bit and do something exciting. We're going to be at the Empire Room, which is in Midtown. Yes. And that's a new venue, so we're excited about that. It's a beautiful space, so we're excited to kind of kick it off there. I'm
really excited about that space, and I know Nick and Brooke Hudson, and just you know, Midtown Crossing is a great, just kind of a great center place for people to
absolutely.
But
and they've been great,
Yeah, and again, last year I think with your 125th anniversary, you had so many amazing things and a big gala, and this is just kind of a great way to kind of kick off kind of where you're going to go forward with fundraising
Year 126, yeah, absolutely. It's a great way for us to just kind of take another look and keep moving forward. And not a big gala, sit-down dinner, very impromptu, very informal. I tell anyone to just come together and have some cocktails and some hors d'oeuvres, you know, hang out with your friends and support the children's home.
So who are the people playing the pianos?
I do not know their names, but they're very, very engaging with the crowd. Yeah, so they really kind of get people to sing along and kind of have competition between each other. So any of you people out there who are competitive and want to try to win,
because it's not karaoke, but it's like group. It's just like a challenge between maybe one side of the room or another, or like this group of friends and this group of friends. And
absolutely, and you can do requests too. They'll take requests. Yeah, so that's exciting too.
So how much are tickets?
So tickets are $75 a person. Yeah, so pretty reasonable.
Yeah. And this is raising money for Nebraska Children's Home Society.
Yeah, for the children and families that we serve. Yeah, absolutely.
And tell me just a little bit about that. I mean, I'm so familiar and love the Children's Home, and they have a special place in my heart. But for people, I mean, just kind of in a 1 minute, what do you do?
Absolutely. So we serve children and families in 4 key areas: adoption, foster care, family support, and early childhood education.
Okay.
So adoption is infant and foster child adoption. Foster care is foster care and in-home care for families. Family support is all the things that families need to be supported so that they can remain intact and together. And then early childhood education is just, we have 2 early childhood centers here in Omaha.
Yeah. And when you think of an organization, again, 125 years that you've been serving families, and things have kind of expanded and changed over the years from what you were 125 years ago.
Yeah.
Because was the first home, is that the Fontenelle?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, on Fontenelle Boulevard.
Right. Yeah, so that was built in 1924, and that's where our Children and Family Center is now. our prevention early intervention services.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were started in 1893, but 1924 was our first space, and still using that space and still serving children and families 125 years later.
And do you have facilities around the state then?
We do,
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we have 3 locations here in Omaha. We're in Lincoln and Norfolk, Kearney and Grand Island, North Platte and Scottsbluff. Yeah. So we're all across the state.
All right.
Serve every county.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So how can people buy tickets again?
So they can get onto nchs.org to get tickets. Yeah.
And also you guys have a Facebook page so they can follow you on Facebook.
Follow us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Yep.
Yeah. And the date of the event is May
10th.
May 10th. So is that a Thursday?
Friday.
Or Friday. Okay, that's a Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Friday before Mother's Day.
Yes. Absolutely.
Bring
your mom.
Yeah, bring your mom. Get your sister. Yeah.
That's absolutely
It's going to be a wonderful time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're excited. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
And I'm excited. I'm going to show up and do some singing.
There you go.
Yeah.
We can maybe start a group.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Lana, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we will be right back. Well, welcome back. I'm here with Erica Overturf. You've been on the show before, CEO and Artistic Director of American Midwest Ballet. And then we have Erin Alarcon. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Thank you. You're a dancer, but you also choreographed the Wizard of Oz coming up.
Yes, we're really excited.
This is an exciting production. So how did this all come to be? Because you've been kind of thinking about this for a while. So let's just talk about kind of how this happened, the journey.
Absolutely. Well, actually, Erin and I were on a road trip together at least 5 years ago, going to do an audition for one of our touring productions of the Nutcracker. We started talking about it, and Erin, I came to find out, has wanted to choreograph this ballet since she was a little girl.
Oh my goodness.
Also been my favorite story, my
Right.
favorite movie since I was a little girl. So I was like, well, let's talk about this. We should do it. But it's been a huge undertaking. So the time is now. It's all coming together beautifully, and we'll be presenting it very soon.
So what makes this such a big undertaking? I'm just curious when you say that.
Yes, well, it's all brand new choreography, but also we did the scenic design, the costume design, just all of the production elements. It was just, and it has it's a big story to tell, has a large cast, and but it's pretty spectacular.
So it's not like you're taking a performance that's been done someplace and then bringing it here where there's those pieces in place, like the choreography. You're starting from ground zero, so to speak, and really making the magic happen and making everything just work nicely and synergistic. I mean, is that correct in saying that?
Absolutely.
That is huge. I mean, that is a huge undertaking.
So Erin had to figure out, how do I take this iconic story and these characters that we love, and weave it all into a ballet that tells the story and captures the magic of the Wizard of Oz.
I mean, to me, that's just, first of all, amazing and inspiring that because you just don't go back that many steps. A lot of times when you think about something, when you're sitting in the audience and watching this beautiful performance, that it actually had to start someplace. And somebody had to kind of be the visionary of how all the pieces are put together. So
it's really exciting. I'm really glad that we're doing it, and the whole thing actually, it started, like Erica said, so long ago when I was a young girl, and to be here now and performing and about to perform it is really incredible.
Erin's also dancing as Dorothy,
okay.
and she's just fantastic in the role.
Yeah.
And so it's really I know a dream come true for her, but for our company.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I'm so excited. So when is the when is the opening night? Tell me about the performance dates and tickets as well.
Yes, May 4th at the Orpheum is our big night, and tickets, you can go to our website at amballet.org, or call Ticket Omaha or go to the Ticket Omaha website. So,
right.
Yes.
So it's one performance.
Yes. We're also doing a special touring performance in Sioux City, Iowa.
Okay.
As well, and we always do school shows.
Sure.
Because education programs are a really important part of what our company does too. But yes, we have one big night at the Orpheum that's our world premiere for the production.
Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. Is there any kind of patron event, or is there anything that, I mean, the public, they just buy their tickets and they come to the performance that night?
Yes,
correct?
and there's a party afterward.
Okay.
Oz Patron Party, which people can buy tickets for.
Okay.
And it's actually sponsored by Metro
Well,
Magazine.
of course it is.
Yay! Thank you, really.
Well, you're welcome.
Excited.
And I knew that because, again, when we talked about this a year ago, I was super excited. So.
You're also a huge Wizard of Oz fan.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to
Yeah.
this, and just being able to have this conversation, though, it grounds in the magnitude and I think the magic of the whole evening. And it's like, yeah, you have this one performance to come see
Don't miss it.
the world premiere.
Yes.
So tickets, you can get tickets, throughout the Orpheum, and so again, go to Ticket Omaha
Ticket Omaha. Yeah, you can find it through our website, amballet.org, or to Ticket Omaha, their website, or call them, and that's for the performance and also for the exciting patron party afterward, where you'll get a chance to meet the cast and have some treats. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to add to this? Again, a very exciting kind of you're starting something, I think, that's going to potentially be a tradition, maybe not just here too, and as you take it around the country.
Yeah, well, there's the limit. We don't know.
There's that possibility too.
Well, Erin, is there anything that you would say stands out to you right now as a favorite moment for you in the production?
I'm very excited that we were able to include not only classical ballet, but there's some tap dancing and jazz and some modern choreography. So hopefully it'll end up being an immersive dance experience
it's so
for
clever,
the audience.
I have to say. The Tin Woodman, is that right?
Yes.
The Tin Man.
The Tin Man.
He has a little tap number. It's so clever. Erin's just put together a delightful ballet. So,
yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And again, tickets at Ticket Omaha and AmericanMidwestBallet.org.
Yeah, amballet.org.
amballet.org. Okay, wonderful. Again, I'm excited. I'm just super excited. So we'll do a little maybe Facebook Live that evening and catch up after the fact too.
Okay.
So thank you again for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And we will be right back. Well, welcome back. I'm here with Laura Stastny. She is the Executive Director of Nebraska Wildlife Rehab. Laura, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, there is so much going on in your world right now. Let's just talk a little bit about Nebraska Wildlife Rehab, and kind of just tell me the history. I mean, when did this start and why?
Yeah, absolutely. So Nebraska Wildlife Rehab, we're actually celebrating our 20th anniversary this year in 2019, so that's exciting for us. And wildlife rehab is around in general because people care about the injured and orphaned wildlife that they find in their communities and needed a way to help it, right? And not everybody's qualified to help wildlife. It's a little bit different than domestic animals. And you also need special state and federal permits to do it.
Right.
And when we think about the wildlife that we get, more than 90% of the wildlife that comes to us because of human action. So intentional or unintentional action that causes an animal to be orphaned, ill, or injured. And so we're out here working with wildlife to kind of mitigate some of the damage that people have done, but also to educate people about how to interact with wildlife in our communities and how to enjoy wildlife, but still make sure that wildlife stays safe in the wild where it belongs.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, whether you're in the city or even in the country, we're constantly interacting with wildlife, whether it's birds or squirrels or, I mean, deer or foxes. I mean, depending on what part of the area you're in, we're a part of their world almost versus them being a part of our world.
Absolutely. And you know, over time, as people have built neighborhoods and cities, certain species of wildlife have really been able to adapt to living in proximity to people in the cities. So you think about raccoons and possums and squirrels. And so we are on their land, But I think that one of the things that we really want people to understand is that there's a way to coexist with wildlife safely and also to enjoy wildlife. It's such an amazing part of this world.
Yes.
So we really hope that through understanding it and knowing wildlife that people will appreciate it and love it as much as we do.
So you have a bat release that's going to be coming up at some point over the next few weeks.
Right.
We're going to talk about that at the end.
Okay.
So, but I just wanted to make sure I put that out there because I didn't want to forget about that.
Okay.
About that piece. But as we've, I've known you for quite a while now, and I've actually called you. I have birds in my dryer. There's a squirrel out, a baby squirrel, or I've called somebody from your place, and actually, when I found this baby squirrel wandering in the middle of the street, I took it over to somebody's house where they actually rehabilitated it and was able to let it go.
Right.
But different times of year, depending on the time of year, you have different issues. And right now, it's baby season.
It is baby season now, right?
Yeah.
And strangely enough, it's been a kind of a slow start to baby season. Normally, by this time of year, we have a few hundred baby rabbits. We have at least 100 baby squirrels. Baby raccoons are coming in. Baby possums are coming in.
Yeah.
All of those animals by April. We're behind pace this year, but a lot of that has to do with weather.
Yeah.
So people weren't outside really until about mid-March. And then the flooding events and the really rapid melting of snow did cause problems for animals that were in dens, which unfortunately means that maybe the first basically round of baby rabbits didn't survive this spring.
Right.
So some of those things conspired against us a bit, or conspired against wildlife. So it's a little bit slower now, but just in the last 72 hours, it's been picking up really fast. So babies are really starting to truck in through the Nebraska Humane Society and through our hotline.
So what do people do? I want to just backtrack for a second to the flooding, because what kind of challenges did you face with all of that, or what kind of calls were you getting?
Right. So it's pretty tricky when it comes to wildlife because it's treated differently than domestic animals or agricultural animals, right? So we were getting a lot of calls about wildlife that people were spotting stranded in the floodwaters up on high ground, and unfortunately, the authorities aren't going to let us go in on boats to try to get that wildlife off of high ground. But the other issue is this, if you go in to rescue a dog or a cat off of high ground, they're probably going to wait for you. They see people as a savior or someone that they can be around.
Yeah.
But you approach a group of deer on an island where they're safe, they're all going to jump into the floodwaters and probably die.
Yeah.
So you just can't go in and rescue wildlife in that way.
Sure.
And so for a lot of us, the flooding was watching and waiting, and it was pretty excruciating for us because we know that a lot of wildlife didn't survive the massive flooding in our area. But at the same time, it gave us time to focus on our communities and the people that we care about who were impacted by the flood. And so that I guess was a blessing for us.
Yeah.
But now we did have a lot of opossums that were pulled out of floodwater by other rescuers. So people that were going in for dogs and cats did bring us opossums. We also got some squirrels that were baby squirrels that were evacuated out of a flood area. And because we couldn't go back in to give them back to their mother, we kept those.
Yeah.
So we did get some flood refugees, and now we're just kind of picking up with our baby wildlife for the year.
So I want to talk about what should people do when they find wildlife in their yard, babies. I mean, again, there's lots of babies being born, and what do you do? Because sometimes people are not so smart.
Right. I mean, sometimes the best thing to do is nothing.
Yes.
A lot of times people will intervene when they think that something is orphaned when it really isn't.
Yeah.
So we always recommend that people go to our website, which is nebraskawildliferehab.org. And there we have just kind of this big, huge drop-down menu of if you found a rabbit, you go do this or whatever.
Right.
But there's the top 3 in the city of baby animals that we see. One of them is people find baby squirrels all the time. If a baby squirrel is a single and it's wandering around, kind of like the one that you found,
And walking down the middle of the road.
walking down the middle of the road,
street.
it's an orphan, right?
Yeah.
Because a mother squirrel's not going to let one baby run around like that. So that's a time when somebody could intervene and bring a baby to us. Another one would be when they find baby birds on the ground. And the most important lesson for people with baby birds on the ground is you don't pick up that baby bird until you've done your research or until you've made a phone call to Nebraska Wildlife Rehab, because baby birds, when they get a little bit older, when they're called a fledgling, they hop out of their nest and they learn how to fly from the ground up. So they might spend a week or two on the ground. And while they're on the ground, their parents will come and feed them. and they come by sound. So they call back and forth to their babies and come and feed them. Well, people will go out into their yards and they see a baby bird all by itself and they think immediately that's an orphan and they pick it up. And that's what we call a little bit of kidnapping, bird napping. And so oftentimes we'll ask people to put those birds back. So we ask them to do their research and make sure that they're not picking up a healthy fledgling before they pick up a baby bird. And then the third one is baby bunnies. So oftentimes people find baby bunnies in their yard and they think they haven't seen the mother, so they must be orphaned. Well, rabbits only come to their nest twice a day, and they'll never come to their nest when there's a predator around, and we're predators.
Right.
So we always tell people that if you think that baby rabbits are orphaned, to do a very simple thing. Take some dental floss and make a tic-tac-toe pattern across the top of the nest, and then leave the area overnight. You have to go overnight because usually mother rabbits feed their young at night. If you come back in the morning and that dental floss is moved and the babies are still there, it means the mom's been there. She's moved your dental floss and fed her young, and then she's gone off again. Baby rabbits are only in their nest for 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the season. So it's a very short inconvenience for people to just let those babies raise up on their own and go back into the wild without kidnapping.
Yeah. And I don't know if we have a big deer problem here, but one of the things I've heard for some reason or a story, there's like a little baby deer in the yard, and then people get all crazy. And,
That's a great question. So, and it's really critical with deer because in the state of Nebraska, it's illegal to rehabilitate deer.
Okay.
So if people bring us fawns, we have very few options with them. We're not allowed to raise them by state law. And so what happens is, baby fawns are all spindly-legged. They can't run very fast. And so one of the coping mechanisms that deer have is that when their babies are very small, the does will lay their young down in the tall grass and then walk away, and they'll feed for 6 or 8 hours. Periodically, they'll come back, they'll nurse their young, and then they'll leave again. So if you come upon a fawn that's all curled up and is being very quiet and keeping its head down, that's a healthy fawn that's just sitting where mom put it. And we tell people, don't ever touch them, leave them alone. The only time a fawn is actually in danger is if it's wandering around crying and there's no doe with it. But if it's laying quietly, it should always be left alone.
Okay. All right, really good information to have. And I know, like you said, your website, which is
NebraskaWildliferehab.org.
Okay, that you can go and you can search for animals and you can find the different, educational things about if you find this animal, this is what to do.
Exactly.
All right, so we're going to have 2 minutes left on this, and we're going to talk about the Bats Over Omaha bat release that comes up at Joslyn Art Museum. It's the 10th annual.
It is.
And you kind of don't really, do you even know when it is yet?
No, so bat release is really tricky. So each winter we collect about 300 to 400 bats that should be hibernating, but for some reason have been woken up from hibernation, right? So we have all these bats, and we go and release them, and we invite the public to see that every spring. The trick is we do this when it's best for the bats. This is about the bats and not about the people.
Right.
And the weather, the temperatures have to be good, the winds have to be good, it can't be raining. And so of course we all know how the weather is in Nebraska, particularly this year, right? And so we usually set the date 72 hours in advance.
Okay.
And then we announce it on social media, we put out a press release, and every year people are disappointed because they may have a conflict that day, but we just say, you know what, this is about the bats, come celebrate with us this year, but if you can't, then we guarantee that it'll be here next year, come visit us again. We didn't realize our first year at the Joslyn Art Museum that it would become such a family fun event, and now we just know that we'll do it every year, and the Joslyn's been an amazing partner.
Yeah. So should people just like you on Facebook or be on your e-newsletter, or is that how you alert people?
Right, okay. So e-newsletter, Facebook, we'll announce it on Instagram and Twitter as well, but Facebook usually gets those things first. And then whether the general media generally picks it up every year, but it's much more reliable to come straight to the source and get it from us.
Yeah. So before you leave, oh gosh, you're moving. We have so much. I could sit here and talk to you for 20 minutes, but I can't talk to you for 20 minutes. That might be a different conversation, but you are needing to move out of your facility in Louisville. So you're looking for a place, and people can help and donate. You're still taking animals. So I mean, your website's like a really big place for people to find out.
Right, we put everything on our website. I mean, what's happening basically is that we have our wildlife center in Louisville, and we did some minor renovations that turned into major renovations. And so we've decided not to invest in that, and we're going to move into the Omaha community, We just don't have a very specific place that we can announce to the public yet. We're working on it. So what we want people to know is that while we're going through this transition, a couple of things are happening. One, we had to launch a capital campaign. We do have funds to purchase a facility in Omaha, but we have a renovation fund. So we have a capital campaign goal of $500,000 for 2019.
Okay.
We took more than 7,000 animals last year, and we just keep growing. So it's the right move at the right time.
Right.
But we want people to know that it's business as usual for us. We're taking every animal, every phone call. This is our busy season. We can't slow down. So we're still here if people need us. We're still here for the animals. But now we need our community to step in and help us raise the funds that we need to make a specialized facility, because the really cool thing about the Omaha facility is that we will have a veterinary clinic on site.
Okay.
So no more moving our animals around. We'll be able to take care of them right on site with the veterinarian.
All right. Again, so much going on in your world. Thanks for taking the time.
Oh, thank you.
I think the big thing is talking about babies and what people can do with that, or do with them when they find them, the bat release, your move. Laura, thank you. We'll have you back on soon, okay?
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And thank you, and we will be right back. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. You can find out more about Metro TV, watch past shows at spiritofomaha.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Metro Magazine, all one word. But thank you again, and we will see you back here next week.